Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, as you'll have seen from the title of this video, I am doing a full length review of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is going to be a no spoilers review, so please feel free to watch it, even if you haven't read the book. I read this in April and loved it so much that I wanted to do a whole video dedicated to it, and just to talk about why I loved it so much. This has been talked about loads all over Booktube and the general internet, and it's been, really critically acclaimed, but I will read you the back just so you know the general synopsis of the story. So it says, reclusive Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses an unknown magazine reporter, Monique Grant, to write her story, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. Determined to use this opportunity to jumpstart her career, Monique listens in fascination. From making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s, to leaving show business in the 80s, and of course, the seven husbands along the way, Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in tragic and irreversible ways. Written with Reid's signature for creating complex, likeable characters, this mesmerising journey through the splendour of old Hollywood into the sobering realities of the present day as two women struggle with what it means and what it costs to face the truth. Oh, I already want to reread this. So, I listened to this on audiobook via Scribed. It's a full cast audiobook and I would really recommend it. I have only recently got into listening to audiobooks and it's the first one that I've listened to that really gripped me. So much so that usually on my lunch break I go to my local library and I read whatever physical book is in my bag at the time, but when I was listening to this captured me so much that I would listen to the audiobook instead and just wandered around the city because I just couldn't stop listening to it. The narrator and the cast do a really fab job of bringing this to life, and actually I was enjoying it so much that I got about a quarter of the way through and I ordered this physical copy because I knew that I was going to need it and want it on my shelf. And look at that cover. This is obviously the paperback, and it's also got this really lovely inside cover there. It's just stunning. So at some point I will read the physical copy as well. So as I've already read the synopsis, it's basically the life story of Evelyn Hugo, who is this fictional starlet from the 50s. There are some major Marilyn Monroe vibes, first of all, I would say. I mean, she's a blonde bombshell, and she, is curvy and beautiful, and she kind of has lots of men around her. Obviously, she has 7 husbands, so I was getting Major Marilyn Monroe vibes, which is no bad thing. But I think the thing I loved about this is that Evelyn Hugo felt so real. I've seen a few people talk about this book and they've all said the same thing, and I agree. I kind of came away from it wanting to go and watch Evelyn Hugo films and look up her Wikipedia page, and it was kind of jarring to realise that she's not a real person because she's just so well written and she's so vivid. And she's not perfect. She makes horrible decisions and she does awful things to people around her and she's ruthless, but you still end up on her side and you're still rooting for her, which is a real skill in the writing. I also liked Monique, who's the other character. We get both perspectives, because you get Monique's perspective to start with and her life, and she's in her 30s, she's separated from her husband, she's working for a magazine, she really wants to make it big in journalism, she doesn't really enjoy what she's doing, but she can't kind of work out how to push herself forward, and then she basically gets summoned by Evelyn Hugo for this interview, which then turns into Evelyn saying, I want to give you my life story and I want you to write my autobiography. So you start with her and then it gets into Evelyn's story, and just both women are written so well and are really flawed, and again Monique's not making great decisions to start with, and sort of through Evelyn's story she learns about herself. The two women's stories do intersect in a way that I can't lie, I saw coming. There are a couple of really good twists in this. There are a couple of things that happen that I didn't see coming. I was like, oh my god. But the kind of final reveal I saw coming, but it still didn't ruin it for me. I still gave this 5 stars. I would still highly recommend it. Just because I don't think I've read anything like it before. I read a lot and I don't think I've ever read anything like this. And we also get, obviously she tells the story of her life, which includes the 7 husbands that she's had. And there's also another love story within it, which is a forbidden romance, which is The Great Love. And that is just, it's so beautifully told. I don't really, if you said to me what genres don't you like, I would say romance would be on that list. However, the last book review I did was for The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman, which is about love. This is about love. So clearly I do like love stories. They just have to be really well written. This is really well written because it's all different types of love. There's the love between friends, there's family love, the love between mother and daughter, romantic love obviously, but then different types of romantic love. So you've got like romantic love that is based on like sexual attraction, and that kind of like where you've got to like rip the other person's clothes off and you want them all the time. There's also very kind of platonic romantic love. There's the kind of love that you both know is bad for you, but it takes a long time for both of you to realise that and to kind of break away from it for your own good. I just thought it was a really fascinating exploration as well of fame and of perception, because at the start of the book there's a perception of Evelyn Hugo and you get a lot of her kind of myth and what people think they know about her, and then you hear from her herself and get her own voice, and you realise that actually some of it's true, a lot of it isn't, and a lot of it is staged, and you know, she does things to manipulate the press and the public and her image, and it's that reminder of what you see in the media 9 times out of 10 is not real. So there's just a lot going on in this book, and it's not long. I think it's like 370 pages. So it's not a big book, but there's so much happening, and I just loved it. So in summary, it's awesome. I loved it. Audiobook's incredible. I'm going to read the paperback copy at some point. Would highly recommend it. It's not what you think it's going to be, and I thought it's fab. It's going to be in my favourite books of the year for sure. So that tells you how much I enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments below if you've read this, if you have, what your thoughts are. Please keep it non-spoiler just for people that haven't read it yet, and I will see you next time. Thanks guys, bye!